Okay, hello anybody who's going to watch this video. I'm in a bad things. This has been a bad year for me. And the only way I can be happy is to make a silly video on how to make an Excel sheet and an Excel model. This video is the result of one of the few good things that happened to me. I was lucky enough to go to the London Business School. They invited me and they came, and a whole lot of people came to listen to me talk my BS about project finance theory and analysis of different projects. And I'm not saying modeling. You notice I'm trying to not say that. And one of the people, very, very nice man, came up to me and said, "Oh, look." Well, he wasn't. He was really nice, actually. What should I do? What should I do if I want to go on one of these interviews? And, how should I get started with the modeling? And it suddenly struck me that people, the disease of arrogant modelers or show-off Excel people is really bad. It's really horrible. And people want to get into the fancy stuff and solve the difficult problems, and there are difficult problems, before they solve other problems. Now, let me do this. I'm going to advertise now. Oh, my big advertising. I'm not putting any Google whatever advertisements on because I can't figure that out and I don't want to waste time on all that stuff. But I'm going to advertise for my own myself. I'm going to advertise at the very end of this video. It's going to be like a promotion video or whatever. This UDF thing that I'm going on and on and on about. But I demonstrate that you can take a heavy model and reduce the size, the speed of a goal seek plus copy and paste in a heavy model from something like 15 minutes to 27 seconds. That's literally, I'm going to put that little video at the end. I'm going to put it at the end of a whole lot of these videos. But I'm going to now talk about hydrogen and this person who was very nice to me and asked, what should I do? And here's my hydrogen model that we'll go through in a different video. And to make a good hydrogen model, we'll make a little graph and we'll say, oh, what happens? We'll size the debt, and what happens if we have a low capacity factor? Is it going? What happens if we have I hope something changed. What happens if we have low efficiency on our electrolyzer? This is all green hydrogen. What happens if we have a higher capital cost and we have to replace our stack? What happens if we have high degradation, meaning that you get fat? This is not like degradation of a solar project where you just get stupid as you go down like me. This is where you got to feed this stupid thing more and more and more. It needs to eat more and more and more. And if you eat more and more and more, you get fat. Ooh, I'm just going to watch my weight. And if you get fat, you got to buy a bigger belt. And that means we got to get more transmission and distribution. We got to size it for the old when it gets old and it needs more. And then you restart after you replace the electrolyzer, okay? So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make this little case study for you. I hope I can get it back to the base case. We're going to see how much debt can we afford. We're going to do some sensitivity analysis. To do that, we're going to get our data from hour-by-hour solar and reflect P90s and all that stuff and potential bad estimates of our production. We're going to put some scenarios, base case, low case, high case. We're going to put a battery in with different capacity. And we're going to put a whole bunch of different financing assumptions in and structure the model. We'll make a solar model, wind model, battery model, electrolyzer operating model. Consolidated with is really this one. and then put that all in a project finance model, make an audit sheet, and then finally make an ammonia model, which I'm not quite finished with. We'll use a lot of public data for all this. And I used to think, hydrogen model is not a big deal. It's not quite true, okay? And we'll show you how to get the data and everything else. And that's not what this video is about. This video is about something much more important. That man asked, how do I get started? You don't start with a model like this. Oops, there's my rooftop solar that we'll talk about maybe one day. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you some inputs. Now, in a class, I went to, I've had a hard time with some university. One university that I used to like. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'll shut up about this. I'm going to pretend we're given some inputs. Now, if I had to give a test, I don't know what I'd do. But here, you need, my advice to this man was learn how to do the basics first. Don't start getting into all this fancy stuff first. Learn how to do the basics and do it fast. Not flexible, accurate structure, FAS, transparent. No, just fast, like fast speed. And to do that, the one thing I recommend, now I ask people how these things work, and I think they put your camera on so they see you. I think look like a mess today as usual. And we're going to give you some inputs, okay? And I should have maybe blanked this one out. Yeah, I'm going to blank this one out too, okay? So these inputs. Now I'm going to put this on my website so that that big model of hydrogen is up here. This is this page called Overview of Hydrogen, which you find in the hydrogen analysis. I might make a little project finance page, project finance model for hydrogen, something like this. I put these people who hate all renewable energy here because they have these great whatever I don't know what they even want, degrowth or something, okay? All right. So we're going to make this a model, and that's all we're given. And my proposal, now I've learned from people criticizing my video. I made some video and somebody said I was inebriated. I've not had anything to drink, okay, in this one. And let's see how fast we can do it. Now, I told these people in a little class I was teaching that we should be able to do this in 15 minutes because I have no fancy timing. So learn this. If you can do this really fast, what I would suggest is practicing on some little model like this, some little solar model. Practice a bunch of times on a simple model. And then I'm going to make another video one day, I hope I make it soon, that will make it a little more complicated with dates and adjusted financing and maybe options for different financing. But for now, I've just put some capacities, and here's the way an electrolyzer works. You get electricity, green electricity, you run it, and this running it is a gigantic variable. That depends on okay, let's talk. It depends on how much sun and wind you have. It's a very big variable. It's because I really should, I want to talk about the economics of this stuff, but I can't because then we have how many hours there are in the year, and this efficiency is this big deal. And we take this efficiency and switch it around. So we get how many, once we have the megawatts, we have how many, and then we have the megawatt hours, then we have how many kilograms do we get for each megawatt hour. So how much do we produce in a year, basically. This is annual. We'll put some inflation like everybody has, and then if we have it in kilowatt hours, if we're spending this for a kilowatt hour, we better spend 1,000 times more for a megawatt hour. So we're going to keep all the units consistent. We're going to pay $28. Now, again, that comes from the solar and the wind study. So just to understand what it is, and then what kind of price of hydrogen can we beat, let's put 2.5. We're going to do a little, maybe goal seek on this, and then we'll have some regular old O&M expense other than this one, and really this should have probably been here, okay? So that doesn't count, okay? And then we'll put some financing in. Now I'm going to make this model, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to experiment with this. I'm going to put it on about double speed or maybe triple speed, so it's not so boring to watch all the Excel happening. And then I'm going to bring it back in and comment on it. So let's make this model and let's do it efficiently. And remember, if you haven't practiced this before, do this without dates, without fancy scenarios, without anything like that. We're just going to do it right. Now I've got the generic macro in here, and I hope this works. So if you get this, let's sound a little fancy. Let's do this. Well, I thought I did, but I better initialize it. Oh, maybe it's one of these Excel things when you leave it open. It may be. Okay, and oops, that took a little bit longer in Shift Control D. Oh, we can't in the timelines. Once you put the timelines in, please begin by putting in a couple of extra columns. And now, if you've worked on this, if you've seen this fast modeling standard, they do this horrible thing where they put in, they repeat the inputs. Then what I just did is put Alt-EIS. I have to hurry up and talk really fast. Once you do this, put the units in for both the that's good, I'm closing the file. Put the units in for both the model and the flag. And what I'm doing there is just getting getting the units from the other page, okay? And then start typing. And notice that once you start typing the titles in, don't start putting all the formulas. Somebody who criticized my model and told me I was an idiot told me to do that. That's really helpful. So these negative comments are wonderful sometimes. So what we're doing now is just collecting the data, and we're collecting the data first for the amount of the electricity production, and then we'll collect the data for the, once we have the electricity production, we put the efficiency in and get the data for the hydrogen production. Now, get the timelines in first. And the first thing I do is don't put a button. I used an if statement and always include a construction period, even if you've just got one construction period. And a lot of these models, these simple kind of examples, just have one construction model. Now, then I'm making formulas for each one. And the big deal is to first start with quantities and not mess around with I gotta talk so fast, I don't know this is working, it kind of sucks. Start with quantities, and before you put in quantities, then put the CapEx. Now I'm putting the CapEx. Maybe 3 times was a little too fast. Okay, and notice I'm putting it all in for one column, so we don't waste a lot of time doing all the columns together. Then I did a little formatting. I have the generic macros in. I'm using Shift Control W to make the macros work. I suppose you could slow this down and try this, but it's once you have all the whatever this is a little hard. Well, that's okay. I'm going to leave it. Okay, I'm getting the inflation rate, I hope, and for the inflation rate, just stick the inflation rate up there up front, so you can repeat and use that inflation rate over and over and over again. Okay, and then we're getting it all in one column, and then I can't even see what's next. What's the next one? Then we're putting in the operating cost. Part of the operating cost is the electricity cost, and you can just see it. You can multiply it all by the quantities up there. Okay, and then finally we'll put in the revenues, and Okay, and again, we're just taking all the numbers from the side and we're getting it all nice and efficient and putting all the units in really cleanly, putting the units in for both the model units and the units that are the input units. Maybe I should have put that as, should have renamed that the inputs unit. Oh my gosh, you learn something every day. Life's not that, doesn't suck that bad, I guess. Okay, and then I'm putting in this. And so we get revenues, expenses, CapEx. Everything in the world has revenues, expenses, CapEx. And then you put in your free cash flow and you get your project IRR. Okay, and I think here we put some units in there. And then once we put the units in there, we copy everything. We get, oops, I had to clean up a couple of things there. Okay, everything's just in one column. Put it all in one column, and then, come on. Okay, I did some formatting. Again, I'm pretending that the camera's on and I'm allowed to use this generic macros thing. You can watch a whole bunch of other things there. And what did I do? I forgot there. I just did a little bit of formatting. And then we're going to get our project IRR. That is the first step, getting the project IRR from the revenues, expenses, CapEx. And then I do it and I make sure and format all the columns exactly the same across. And I think I put some units in. And then you don't really have to do this, but I did the coloring with the generic macros first. Maybe that's okay. It took a couple of extra seconds to do that, okay? And then we're done with half the model. Now, if anybody says, oh, I'm wasting too many time on operations, go screw yourself, really. Project finance is defined. It's about understanding operations and then doing that again. And oh, look, I've got my picture going really fast. Maybe I'll leave that in. I have no idea. Whatever, okay. Now I'm putting in the financing. Now I made a mistake on the financing. The first thing you start with is a repayment flag, and then you put the CFADS, and you put the CFADS over the repayment. Once you have the CFADS over the repayment, you can put the target debt service as a CFADS divided by the DSCR. Once you get the target debt service, you take the NPV of the debt service. Now you should use a little false trick where you only take the NPV as of the start of the repayment date. I made a mistake here. We'll see. We'll see in a minute. This is kind of cool that I get to go back and tell you about my mistake. And then we put in. Then after that we put in all the cash flow waterfall, and this. It really is the skeleton of any cash flow model. You take the EBITDA minus the interest and the principal, you get the dividends, and then you take the dividends minus the upfront equity cash flow, and you put all of those in, and now I'm putting in the depreciation. So to compute a profit and loss statement, I'm going down and computing all the financial statements. So we're doing all the financial statements in just a few minutes. Now you remember that we started with 11 minutes. I think when we finished it got to be 46. So 46 minus 11 is about 36 minutes. This actually took about half an hour to put together. So if you can do this in half an hour, okay, now I'm putting in the rest of the balance sheet here, and we're getting, I think, to the difference. I'm sorry. It's not that my eyes are so bad. You should see what I'm doing. I'm watching as we go across. So I was wrong. We're putting in all the titles for the financial statements. Okay, and this would just be too boring to watch all these be typed in. And now, once you have that, then okay, perfect. Put this in. Put some flags in. And then get the debt repayment. And the debt repayment, oh yeah, get the formatting right. Absolutely, Okay, and that one, you put if, you don't put an if, you put two things have to be happening. It's the operating, and it's got to be less than or equal to the term. Then you get the interest rate and get that interest rate in, and then take the debt service is the cash flow divided by the DSCR, but it's only over the debt term. And then I said, okay, let's do it right now because it's going to be nice to have some debt balance, and the debt balance I put all the little units in here first, okay? And again, if you can say, oh, what a waste of time. Why are you telling me about units and drivers and formatting and all that? I'm sorry, but I think it's important, and that's why I gave you that generic macro to make it all work so much faster. Okay, and then we'll put the debt and the equity. You make a little sources and uses of fund statement. Every project finance model, even this really simple one, has a simple project sources and uses statement. Okay, and then we put the rest of this stuff in just a minute, and sorry about that. Then we put the cash flow waterfall in, which has negative equity at first. Do Shift Control R to get all that working. Put an equal IRR and get the equity IRR. Okay, and we're really finished with the model right now. We're really finished with the model. But just in case they want the financial statements, go up and get the revenues and then the expenses and then take the EBITDAs, the revenue minus expenses, I hope, or where are we actually? Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, we're at the debt balance, excuse me, oh, jeez. Okay, I can't even see it, okay? And the big formula here is the repayment is the debt service minus the interest. And just use that and do it kind of quickly, and then you can put some underlines there if you want. And then the debt balance should go to zero. Now this didn't because I made a mistake. We'll see the mistake in a minute. But before we make the mistake, I went all the way down the kind of, now we're doing the cash flow, excuse me. Yeah, we're doing the cash flow waterfall. I thought, no, we're not. We're doing the income statement, okay? And then we just grab all the numbers from above. That's really easy. It could take a little time, but you have to practice how to do it really fast. I wish I could do it as fast as this speed is. I wish I could do it at 3 times the speed, but I can't, okay? And then just a minute, put all we're at the cash flow statement. When you get to the cash flow statement, put all the items in for the financing. That includes all the repayment, all the interest and everything else, and the dividends even. That's all financing. And make sure, just like a regular old cash flow statement, the operating plus the, no, it's not a regular cash flow, it's a project finance cash flow. Make sure that when you put all of those in, it all adds up, and we have negative kind of little bit of cash balance outstanding, okay? And then we can copy that whole thing, and then we got the balance sheet to balance. Now, before you get so excited and all that, and I even put a test in there, and somewhere I made a mistake, because if you go down, then I started putting the sums in. And this was really showed you how valuable the sums are. I used Shift Control V for Victor to put all the sums in. Okay, I don't know if this is working or not, but I think you should try this. I think you should really take that simple model, and even if you're one of these arrogant guys who think you went to University of Chicago Booth School, then you can. You should do it yourself and really make sure that you can get all the sum columns, all the formatting, all this and everything else. So now I'm saving the file, but when I looked at that, oh, it took me 49 minutes, 49 minus 11, so that took me about a little more than half an hour. And then here's what I did. I closed the file and then did another coloring, so now I'm into the regular speed, okay, and after we're in the regular speed, we'll see, the coloring takes a little too long maybe, but whatever, and I didn't like that blue coloring, so I did it again, and you notice that I used Shift Control D for David on all those other formats, on all those other things to get the units all fancy, okay? And I hope you say, that's okay. Maybe some people would argue, some fancy people would argue and say, oh no, I have a better method of coloring. Go, whatever, okay? It's good enough. I think it's just fine. But please, practice this first. Practice this first and a bunch. Okay. All right, now we'll, I promise some publicity, some advertisement. There's my advertisement. My advertisement is for this thing that I call the parallel model made with the UDF. All right? In this example, I'm going to show you just how dramatically faster this parallel model or this UDF works, and you can read up. We put a little switch in here so you can turn this thing on and off. You have to attach it to the model. That will be in another publicity where advertisement where I explain exactly how it works, how easy it is to really do. But in this one, I'm showing you the big result. And the big result is the dramatic difference it takes for running a copy and paste, which in a really big model can seem to just take forever. It's just crazy. And this is Excel time. And in a few seconds in Excel is a whole lot more than a few seconds in regular time. And if you've got a big model and you're going around clunking and copying and pasting and copying and pasting, it takes a whole long time. You can see here how long it takes. Okay, how long did that one take? That was just to do a copy and paste. Now we're going to switch from the copy and paste. That's 4.15 minutes, enormous time. Now we're going to run it with this UDF, and I just showed you the kind of boring model step by step by step, how boring this is. But then if you try to do something different, I really want to try something different, and I'm just trying to find anybody to take any kind of little interest. And all I want to do is, if not get paid a ton of money, because it's a sunk cost now. What I want to do is teach you how to do it and teach you how to implement it. And if it's a simple model, it's very easy to implement, but you don't really need it. Now what I'm doing is running a goal seek plus a copy and paste. And that's where it really gets stuck. And if you have run a model and you're going to do anything at all with the model, very, very often you're going to go do a goal seek to figure out what price you need or to figure out what DSCR works. Or the goal seek's a crucial tool. Running the goal seek and putting a goal seek macro around a copy and paste macro can just take so long. Oh my gosh, let's see how long it took. And now I'm going 20 times the speed to show you how it works. And that took, oh my gosh, 934 seconds, 15.2 minutes. Okay, you notice I'm screwing around with the thing all the time. And now we're going to run the goal seek, but this time we're going to run the goal seek with the UDF instead of that copy and paste. Now I'm doing it regular time. I'm not even accelerating the time. Okay? And please, if you're interested, if you have a big template model, call your boss and say, let's try this. Let's try to put it in here. Let's try to really make our model something different, not the same old crap stuff where you have to sit around and gosh knows, or you can check all your WhatsApp messages and then you still have all this extra time. This only took 27 seconds. It makes it totally more efficient what you're doing. So that's my advertisement. I'm going to advertise if you ever want somebody to come and speak at your university a little bit. I'd love to. If you want some discussion on this UDF, just please give me a call or email me. You find the emails and all that on my website, I guess. Okay, that's enough.